Hello everybody and welcome to Reboots, Remakes, and Retcons. I'm Andrew Rhodes and I'll be your host as we dive into the world of movies, television shows, and video games that are being rebooted, remade, or having their origin stories completely and totally retconned. Why in the hell are we doing this? I don't really know. Believe me, I don't really have an answer for that. I've been trying to find one, so if somebody out there might have an idea, I'd love to hear it. But either way, we're talking about reboots, remakes, and retcons. And this time around, what do I got for you? Well, believe it or not, Punky Brewster's coming back with the original actress, Soleil Moon Frye. At least the updated reboots in the works. God help us all. Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender remake is apparently still a thing, and why is it a thing, I'll never know. Disney is apparently still considering a live-action Nightmare Before Christmas. Why do we need to have that? Neon Genesis Evangelion found its way over to Netflix, and sadly it is not the same as the original because it's been retranslated, which means it's now a remake. It qualifies now as a remake, so thank you so much for that! Remember Blue's Clues? Well, good news! It's coming back! Yep, that's right. I'm going to be talking about the Final Fantasy VII remake, which is apparently all the buzz. Nickelodeon's live-action CGI abomination Rugrats movie has been delayed. And Paramount is in the works of making a Clifford the Big Red Dog movie, similar in style to, believe it or not, the Rugrats movie. Great! Oh, God help us all. All this time around on reboots, remakes, and, oh God's sake, retcons. We're all screwed, aren't we? Anyway, sit back, relax, and enjoy as we all dive into this world together. Because we're all in this one together, folks. It's gonna hurt for everyone. Okay, so back in the 80s and the 90s, a lot of people just loved the crap out of sitcoms. I mean, you had, Small Wonders, The Wonder Years, just to name a couple of them off the top of my head, Mr. Belvedere, and things like that. However, Punky Brewster seemed to have been one of the few main ones that a lot of people liked, especially because Soleil Moon Frye was in it. Now, for those of you who don't know who she is, I recommend Google as your first stop. And then, while you're at it again, double check with Wikipedia. Either way, though, Punky Brewster is apparently on its way back, with UCP developing a sequel to the original 1984 NBC series. Yes, and Soleil Moon Frye has been apparently set to reprise her role as a titular character that became the pop culture icon of the 80s. Who the hell cares anymore, really? I mean, I didn't even know this show was a thing until I saw Robot Chicken. And if anybody gets the Robot Chicken reference from this, you have too much time on your hands. Apparently, the original multi-camera series centered on Punky, a bright young girl who was raised by her foster dad, George Gaines was the actor, in a multi-camera hybrid reboot, though. Punky is now a single mother of 3, trying to get her life back together when she pretty much meets a young girl who reminds her a lot of her younger self. So, we're basically reliving your childhood through another kid. Sure, we'll go with that one. I mean, why not? Yeah, why not? This isn't going to be UCP's first foray, though, into some other shows that they've done. I mean, they've done Psych. They have a little list here. What's it here? We got The Difficult People, Psych, Playing House, and Happy. However, this is going to be the first foray, though, for the company, at least the studio in this case, into the multi-camera family sitcom. Yay. However, other sitcoms, though, have seen slight increases and reboots as of late. Let's not forget the popularity that a majority of these got upon their return. We had, but we're not limited to, Full House, which got rebooted into Fuller House, which is sadly coming to an end. In all honesty, I saw a couple episodes and I wasn't exactly a fan of it, so as far as I'm concerned, it can gladly die off. Boy Meets World came back as Girl Meets World, which basically took the place of young Corey Matthews, and instead had his daughter being the one basically trying to figure the world out around her. In all honesty, if Disney wouldn't have had their head so firmly up their ass with that, they could have made that series work. Hell, I watched it till I got rid of cable. And in all honesty, it was a damn good show, and one that I still think to this day could have done a lot better had Disney have given it the love and attention it deserved. You stuck it on a Friday night at 8 o'clock. Who the hell is going to be at home on a Friday night at 8 o'clock? Who the hell is DVRing that when apparently Dancing with the Stars might be on a Friday night instead? Come on, people. Then there was also other shows that came back, including Will and Grace and Roseanne, the latter of which was sadly canceled and then replaced with the spin-off series, which in all honesty was a lot better. That's all the further I'm going to say on that. However, there was also a few other things, but following her breakout role, though, with this series, Soleil Moon Frye did go on to guest star in other series such as Friends, Saved by the Bell, and The Wonder Years, as well as recurring on one of my most favorite shows from the 90s, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, where she played opposite Melissa Joan Hart in a few episodes. God, I love that show. If they ever reboot that, they better damn well do it justice, because I'll be pissed if they don't. Seriously, that was one hell of a show, and much, much appreciated, because, honestly, it was a good show. And anybody out there that says otherwise, you have never had a crush on Melissa Joan Hart like I had. I saw Clarissa Explains It All. I watched Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I even watched that crappy, god-awful made-for-TV movie of it. So suck it. Anyway, that's apparently rebooting, and oh, goody, 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 goody gumdrops. Why is it coming back? I don't really freaking know. I don't even think they know, to be honest with you, but oh well, to hell with it. As far as we know, it's probably going to bomb. Hopefully it won't get any further than the writing room, because who honestly remembers Punky Brewster anymore? I mean, this would all of a sudden be a strange thing. They came back with Small Wonders in this day and age. I mean, the robot Vicky? Nah, that thing creeped me the hell out. They suddenly come out with a Mr. Belvedere remake? Ugh, God help us all. Oh well. Anyway, that's all we got for that one. Thank God for that. I pity Soleil Moon Frye, but maybe you can make it work, maybe you can't. I don't know. I'm not here to judge. Anyway, continuing on with shows that are getting more of a rebooted style to them, let's talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender. God, I can't believe Nickelodeon just bent this thing over as badly as they did. Look, I'm not gonna lie. That Last Airbender movie by M. Night Shyamalan, Ding Donga. I'm sorry, M. Night Shyamalan, you know, the one that brought us After Earth? Yeah, that crappy movie that was basically made after this crappy movie was made. Yeah, let's not remember either of those, shall we? The Last Airbender was a train wreck. Thank God it was only one of the train wrecks. I can just imagine if they would have actually done 4 different movies, all 4 of them would have been massive train wrecks. So I'm really happy that this one stayed off and died where it did. However, the live-action Netflix remake, though, can gladly burn in the deepest fires of hell as far as I'm concerned. Avatar: The Last Airbender was a very good series for Nickelodeon. When they came out with it as a cartoon, God knows it gave them the viewership they so desperately needed. I mean, let's face it. When Avatar came out, they were basically bombarding themselves with SpongeBob Ahoy while trying their damnedest to keep other programs going. And this was back when Nickelodeon was still experimenting with themselves. Anybody out there remember Cousin Skeeter? God help us if they ever bring that back. Seriously, I had no issue with the show, except for the puppet creeped me the hell out. When Disney XD does their own version of your show, calling it Crash and Bernstein, and they do it a lot better than Cousin Skeeter, I'm sorry. That's when you know you've screwed up, when the House of Mouse is kicking your ass. That's when you know you're done. Anyway, this new series is coming up on Netflix, and why, I just can't figure out for the life of me. Look, I'm all for older shows like this getting some more attention, but not like this. Let's not give it a live-action remake. Let's not basically throw it to the wayside and just do what they did to The Legend of Korra. Netflix, I'm sick and tired of getting all the programming. Every time you turn around, Netflix is getting this and Netflix is getting that. It's almost like Netflix is the SS Save My Show, and every network is basically piling their crap onto a giant pile, and it's right there at Netflix's door. Avatar: The Last Airbender deserves a lot better. Hell, The Legend of Korra deserved a lot better. That show got shafted, and it got shafted hard by Nickelodeon. I will actually go on a full-on rant about that at some point, but to say the least, it deserved a lot better, and so does Avatar. Both of those shows basically gave Nickelodeon a small vitality of relief that it's so desperately needed, and that it is so desperately claiming and clawing for now, and they just can't find it. And yes, I have seen some current Nickelodeon programming when a short little trip to a store had a TV. Not pleasant. Well, okay, the part of the Loud House that I saw online was kind of interesting, but nonetheless. Either way, though, this is something that we definitely don't need. And this was announced already back in September. This at least isn't as bad as what we got with the Reboot series. Let's remember Reboot, that old show from the 90s and the early 2000s about the computer world known as Mainframe. Remember when that got rebooted into Reboot the Guardian Code and everybody hated it? Yeah. Imagine that, but on a much more grandiose scale, because this is Netflix. They got a budget behind their ass. In all honesty, I don't like Avatar: The Last Airbender getting screwed, but this is about what we have detail on. Now, specifics of the remake are still few and far between, I wonder why, but from what I've seen, it's going to basically consist of live-action fighting, because I have seen some YouTube videos where they've been practicing the actual martial arts they're going to be using in this. And honestly, I'm just getting flashbacks to The Last Airbender, and I've never seen the entire movie. Hell, I've only ever seen the trailer for it, and that's as far as I'm willing to go. And I'm just getting flashbacks. They're thrilled for the opportunity, though, to helm this live-action adaptation. I personally would rather it see itself right into the closest garbage can. And not even that, I'd rather see it go into the garbage can quickly than light itself on fire with its firebending, just to make sure it can never come back. Any possibility of this show being good honestly scares the crap out of me. And apparently, this is not going to be connected to the 2010 film adaptation. Well, I'm really glad you're distancing yourself from that piece of crap, but in all honesty, this piece of crap doesn't deserve to be made either. Nothing that was cartoon should be made live action unless you know what you're doing, or there's actually a reason for it, of which there never is. So, yeah, there's no reason for it. Don't freaking do it. But, that being said, it is still coming out. Why? Who the hell knows, really? And with more wonderful, horrible news, let's dive into... I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but The Nightmare Before Christmas. We remember The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's one of the most classic movies there is. Stop-motion animation at its finest. Believe it or not, it's one of the few Tim Burton movies that I will recommend in a heartbeat. I mean, okay, Corpse Bride wasn't bad, but it had some issues. This movie, however, is one of the few movies that you can show it 30, 40, 50 years later and it'll still be as good as it was originally. This, however, does not need a live-action remake. Seriously. And Disney, once again, is trying to helm this idea. And this is just horrible. Disney has had their own head firmly up their ass ever since their live-action Beauty and the Beast movie went buku bonkers at the box office, blowing gangbusters out of the water every single where it went. Just because one movie strikes success does not mean lightning in a bottle is going to catch halfway around. Take a look at that horrible Dumbo movie, for example. That thing was a massive flop. You want to talk about movies that had some luck to them, I show you Aladdin. Aladdin came out with nothing, and I mean nothing, to go up against it. That's why it railroaded over the Memorial Day weekend, so suck it. As far as this is concerned, I'm not exactly looking forward to this. We also have that newer Lion King movie coming out, but the director has begged people to stop saying it's live action because it's not. It's CGI, or a live-ish CGI sort of hybrid type deal. In all honesty, if it's computer generated, fine. You're basically just taking the 2D drawings and making a more 3D experience. fine, I might be able to get behind it, but coming out and telling everybody at first it's live action throws me off. But fine, whatever. The Lion King was always good as far as I'm concerned, but I just can't wait to see you screw that one up. But then we also have that live action Lilo and Stitch that's supposedly coming out, not to mention a possibility of a Mulan that is currently in production apparently. Mulan. Seriously, do we really need a Mulan movie again? I liked the original Mulan movie. The sequel was okay, but I can understand why it was a direct-to-video sequel. Do we need a live-action Mulan movie? Do we really need that? We got a live-action Aladdin movie, why I can never figure out, but do we need a Mulan one? I liked Mulan for what it was. I don't really want to go there and watch a Mulan movie. It's basically going to be like, what was that, Memoirs of a Geisha? No, I don't want to possibly have a watered-down kids version of that movie playing in my head as I'm watching a Disney movie. Sorry. That I don't really need. But apparently, though, talks about this have also been just massively coming out of the woodwork. And this is an article from back in 2000... Oh, sorry. It's from this year, 2019, but back in February, I should say. So, Disney's planning this. The report also claims that they could be filmed... That film could also be starting the next live-action adaptation of Disney property, though there's been no official announcement, though, from Disney as of the writing of this article. Because, yeah, okay, why the hell not? But seriously, with all these movies and stuff coming out, why would you want to remake The Nightmare Before Christmas into live action? I mean, nobody wants to have a live action Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, how could you even do that? Is it going to be live action CGI like that Rugrats movie's going to be? How exactly does that work? Jack Skellington is a skeleton. It's in his name. I really hate to see how you pull that one off. No, seriously, I really would hate to see that. And back to my I hate Netflix ranting again. Remember when I said about Netflix in one of my podcasts getting the rights to Neon Genesis Evangelion? Well, believe it or not, they got the rights for Neon Genesis Evangelion, and wow! Not only did I can now officially call it a remake blow, but it's pissed off some fans. Now, I know somebody's going to say, it's not a remake, they just are rebroadcasting the show. No, it now qualifies as a remake because they had to change translations, or at least they retranslated it. Meaning that there's new translations, which makes it new, which therefore makes it a remake, regardless of how you slice it. Yes, I'm going to nitpick this one because in all honesty, Netflix pisses me off. In this case, though, the director is seriously fine with this. The new dub of this anime has caused a massive amount of controversy, but the director and the translator responsible for the dub is defending himself and his choices. Okay, great. So the original series, which spanned how many, like 26 episodes, a freaking movie that actually finished it off one way, and the series that ended it in another way. Take whichever ending you will with a grain of salt. Just don't watch the end of Evangelion with the lights off. That's all I gotta say. In all honesty, sure, fine. Let's go with putting this on Netflix. I mean, people could have just found DVDs of it or something, but no, we'll just plop it up on Netflix, charge people an arm and a leg, and then stream it to their minds. Brilliant idea, but why retranslate it? Well, late in the original dub of the series, main character Shinji and his friend Kaori were implied to be in love with each other, which was a watermark for queer representation in mainstream anime. However, the new Netflix dub has changed the dialogue, tweaking the relationship. Of course it has. Look, I honestly never got that vibe from the original one. The characters in this honestly completely bypass my head. I was watching this series for the robots, okay? I'm sorry. I was watching this for the Avas, the mechas that were battling the angels, and that was pretty much it. I could have cared less about the rest of the plot around it. I was watching it for the fighting. That was all I was watching it for. I could have given two craps about anything else. But apparently fans are not too happy with this. Now, I understand their hatred towards this, but seriously? I mean, come on. There's an entire anime series that came out called Kashimashi. Watch that. Then tell me how this is weird. No, seriously. I'm fine with both of these, and in all honesty, there's nothing wrong with it. But changing it, sure. However, Twitter and multiple other people have immediately gone completely batshit crazy over this. And I'm assuming it's not just this one line that was probably translated and changed, that there's probably others along the way, but this is the one that's getting most people hot and bothered. Okay, let's go for it. It's one thing for characters, though, to confess their love. It is quite another for the audience to infer affection and leave them guessing. How committed are the characters? What possible misunderstandings might be taking place? Leaving room for interpretation makes things exciting, was what one person replied on a Twitter thread. However, there's a lot of people, though, that are defending this going, I've seen a lot of misdirected hate towards Netflix about their handling of Kaworu and Shinji's relationship. I reached out to the original translator, and I think it's extremely important for everyone to hear what he has to say. Yes, okay, so the credited translator for the series, though, was actually, is ultimately standing by his decision, saying his translation is geared towards representing the source material above potential subtext. Honestly, I never understood half the characters in Neon Genesis Evangelion. Shinji was just a whiny kid, Asuka was a mama's girl that was trying her damnedest to basically be something that she could never be, and Rei was a doll. That's all she was. Hell, they mass-produced her ass at Nerve anyway. Then you have Shinji's father, you have Misato, you have so many other characters in this, all of which are confusing, hence why I got into this series for the robot battles. Hell, even the re-movies, You Cannot Redo and all those, 1.1, 2.22 and all those, I literally just watched for the robot fighting. I could have given two craps about the plot. Show me some exciting action scenes. The plot's second nature to me as far as I'm concerned. So this really doesn't bother me, except for the fact that Netflix once again got their hands on something. Netflix seems to be the quintessential pain in my ass when it comes to getting shows and changing stuff around. Now, like I said, I have no beef in regards to this, and I never will have a beef. As far as I'm concerned, to each their own. If you want them to get together, let them get together. If you don't want them to get together, don't get them get together. If you want to read it one way, read it the way you want to read it. In all honesty, that's what makes shipping so much fun. Look at that South Park episode where all the girls in town were shipping Craig and Tweak. Did anybody else think that prior to that episode? No? I didn't think so. In all honesty, I could care less. Makes for a good episode, but still, doesn't bother me. To each their own. I mean, it's got to work for something. And speaking of some things, because, yeah, we just have to go Nickelodeon route, because backtracking to them, I mean, well, Nickelodeon screwed over Avatar, which led us to Netflix, which then took us on a sidetrack to Disney, which then took us back to Netflix, and now we're back to Nickelodeon because, hey, anybody remember Blue's Clues? No? Here, let me give you a little rundown. There was this dog, Blue, that I honestly for years didn't realize was a girl until it was brought to my attention. Thank you, Internet, for telling me that. Whose owner, Steve, was basically like a kid who lived in a house. And to figure out what his dog wanted, played a game called Blue's Clues, where Blue would put her paw print on something, and in all honesty, well, this is basically what it was. You got 3 clues, jot them down in your notebook, and then you have to sit in a big thinking chair. And you want to know what you did then? You pieced the clues together. It was basically so simplistic that I liked the little joke parody that the one YouTube channel did, having a Sherlock-type character come onto the show just to pretty much tell Steve off. And God, was it fun. There was a whole cast of characters in this, including Mr. Salt and Mrs. Pepper, or Mr. Pep... No, it was Mr. Salt and Mrs. Pepper, their daughter Paprika, and apparently now another kid. There was the mailbox, Pail and Shovel, Shovel and Pail, the Picture Kids. And then eventually Steve's brother Joe came along because Steve was leaving the show. Now, I've heard multiple rumors as to why Steve left the original series, most of which going from he was going bald to he just wanted to spread his wings and do other things. And I think he's a musician now, but who cares? I mean, that song that he always had to sing whenever the mail showed up, I could just see a kid singing that song. Here's the mail. Yeah, no. I don't even want to try to sing it because YouTube will probably block my video. But here's the mail. You know the song. But basically, yeah, they'll probably block me now just for saying that anyway. But anywho, Steve basically gave the reins of the show over to his brother Joe, who eventually took over. Now, Blue's Clues did at some point actually end, and it turned into Blue's Schoolhouse or School Days or something, where Blue went off to school with Magenta, another dog of a different color. Honestly, I was lost with this show after Joe took over. It wasn't bad, but it just got weird. Well, good news! It's back! Yep, there's a new Blue's Clues, and honestly, I'm actually excited for this one. So, back in the 90s, like I said, Blue's Clues was huge for kids to watch in the afternoon. I mean, hell, I think it was on for like an hour. They actually had like 2 episodes, usually back to back. So it made for decent entertainment. But still, it was a popular preschool show. And you figure with, well, all the crap that's been going on lately with stuff getting rebooted, you need some more preschool kids shows. I mean, I don't think Ryan's World is going to be doing enough to gather enough entertainment value to educate children. In all honesty, let's bring back some of the old stuff as far as this one's concerned. I'm perfectly fine with that. And in this case, Blue's Clues is definitely a good start. Now, Blue's Clues is going to basically be this Blue's Clues and You. That is the supposed series that is beginning here. But still, nonetheless, it's still a wonderful thing. Now, it's going to be a reboot of the classic series, and it's actually going to be beyond adorable. Even from what I'm seeing in the article, it's really nice. I mean, Blue, the chair, the thinking chair, the house, the notebook, the familiar friendly faces, it's all coming back to you. It's like what Boomerang used to be before they screwed themselves to the wall. Yes, that's right. I am not against blowing Boomerang to the wall again. Yeah. The new lead, though, is going to be Josh. Is going to be Blue's main buddy. Oh, goody. The original Blue's Clues launched back in 1996, and it got critical praise from educators, parents, and preschoolers, and it ran for 6 freaking seasons. That is humongous. Taking that at the time, you still had Sesame Street and Barney on the air. Come on. That's huge. You can last for 6 seasons. The beloved old school star, though, of the yesteryear, Steve Burns, actually helped choose the new face for Blue's Clues and You last fall. Burns said he was looking forward to seeing someone new in his iconic role. He had the great honor of being part of the search for the new host. He goes, and I give Josh 2 thumbs up. He can definitely fill my shoes. And the rugby shirt. In all honesty, from what I've seen, both trailer-wise and everything else, this actually does look pretty good, and it seems like it's not going to be too bad of a reboot. Taking that it's a preschool show, it'll work out perfectly fine. The original demographic for Blue's Clues has long since grown up and gotten old. So, it would be nice to have something similar that they could have their kids watch to honestly have that nostalgic feel that they themselves had. You now as a parent would have kids of your own who could then watch the Blue's Clues series that was similar to what you used to watch. Slightly different, but it'll bring back some memories for you, which might cause you to look up some older episodes, which might be up on YouTube, to show your kids and educate them more, which will lead to spending time with one another. Ah, yes. Wonderful feeling, isn't it? Ah, well. But, with that, let's get into the next one. Because, in all honesty, we got what? Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Yes. This thing is finally coming to life. What's it going to be? March 3rd, 2020 is the supposed release for the PlayStation 4. This game has been a massive waiting, begging, fans banging their heads upon the desks, tables, chairs, what have you, because they have wanted this series forever to come back. And controversy aside from this, there's new voice actors apparently for Cloud Strife. Some of the other characters are going to be changing up voices, I've heard. There's multiple rumors. However, one massive thing that I have to get out here, I did talk about recently on one of my podcast episodes, is the fact that there's a huge controversy over Tifa's boob size being dropped from a D to a B cup. However, the creators have swore that they made her more athletic so that it would be more realistic. Sure, I'll buy that, but when you have a guy that has a sword, that's a massive sword made out of 7 swords, and another guy that's got a wing coming off of his back, like a big freaking wing, nope. Logic gets thrown out the window the moment that console is powered on and you yourself have control of the characters again. I'm sorry, but I just don't buy it. However, Final Fantasy VII was actually quite good, and I do love Advent Children. It's one of the very few movies that I actually enjoy, and I have seen gameplay of the original Final Fantasy VII game on YouTube, so it is quite good, especially for the fact that it was a turn-based game. Now, for what I've read, this is still going to be turn-based, I assume. I'm not sure off the top of my head what exact type it's going to be. However, it is going to have the Unreal Engine 4 being used to run this baby, so that definitely gives you some, hopefully, good ideas from Square Enix. I don't know. But either way, yeah. Sorry for the noises, by the way. Going on, though, let's talk more about Nickelodeon. Yes, we're back to them again. The big N. For nothing. Not good. Not having their heads out of their butts yet. Well, apparently they might have slightly dislodged it, but not enough yet. They decided to delay the Rugrats movie. This live-action CGI hybrid abomination is now set to come out much later than it originally was planned to. And oh boy, am I happy about hearing those words. Nope, seriously, it is. It has been moved from its original date, which was November 13th of 2020, all the way to January 29th of 2021. Yes! I wonder why, though. Well, maybe we'll find out. Either way, this live-action abomination CGI hybrid show is basically going to be CGI babies with real-life humans. Think like the Ally McBeal episode from the 90s, but on a much more grandiose scale. And I'm assuming the babies are going to talk to each other, so think Look Who's Talking and Look Who's Talking Too, only now with CGI kids. Oh, goody. Just what we needed. But still, I guess Nickelodeon is deciding to double down with this thing because obviously they have no plan to just redo the Rugrats series. I mean, seriously. But apparently the series and film, oh god, wait, hold on. There's a series with this? Let's see here, Okay. A series will be getting not a 26 episode relaunch. Okay. Not a 26 episode relaunch as well as a big screen CGI /film, so that Paramount players would allow the iconic series to share with the new generation. So I guess it is getting a series too. Oh, goody! We're getting a series too. The series of film is going to see fan-favorite original characters Tommy Pickles, Chucky Finster, Angelica Pickles, Susie Carmichael, and twins Phil and Lil DeVille, as well as the beloved dinosaur Reptar, returning along with new characters. Is Chucky's adoptive sister going to be there, Kimmy? 'Cause you're missing one. But you got Susie, you got Angelica, you got Tommy, you got Chucky, you got Phil and Lil. You're missing a character in there. You're getting this thing a 26 episode series. So this live action CGI hybrid isn't going to only be a movie, but now it's going to be a series on top of that. Man, Paramount, you really got your heads firm up your butt now, huh? Man, Nickelodeon's really loving this. Whoo! And Reptar. Well, we're at least getting Reptar back. Yay! The film take on the series is coming from Paramount Pictures. It's going to be the 4th big screen Rugrats film. The first 3 being the Rugrats movie. What was the second one? The Rugrats movie 2, I think, when they went over to Paris. The Rugrats Go Wild was apparently the 3rd one, though honestly, I always thought of that as a crossover with the Wild Thornberrys, which honestly, late 90s crap Nickelodeon, I kind of had mixed feelings on. and now this is going to be the fourth one. This shouldn't really technically be thrown in with the Rugrats franchise, especially not calling it a fourth movie, because it's been how many freaking years since the Rugrats Go Wild debuted? Why the hell should we have another movie for this? And now you're giving it a series on top of that. So it's now expected to be released in theaters in January 29th, 2021. Oh, great. I'm not really upset that it's been delayed. I'm actually quite happy about that. I wish it would just find its way into the trash can, though, because honestly that's where it needs to go. But speaking of Paramount, I wonder if this might be the reason why the Rugrats movie got delayed. Paramount's hybrid Clifford the Big Red Dog movie is going to be getting a 2020 release. Now, for those of you that don't remember Clifford the Big Red Dog, let me give you a little lowdown on it. It's Clifford, he's a big dog, and he's red. There you go. Real children's entertainment there, isn't it? He's Clifford, he's big, and he's red. And he's a dog. Clifford the Big Red Dog. Wow! That's almost as mind-blowing as Curious George. He's curious, and his name is George. Curious George! Anyway, this is going to be another live-action CGI hybrid movie. At least, yes. It's an upcoming live-action CG hybrid movie based on the original series Clifford the Big Red Dog. It's going to debut in theaters on November 13th, 2020. Wait a minute. Hold up a second. When was the Rugrats movie going to debut again? I believe that was what? The 13th? Wasn't it? Hold on. When was that movie going to come out originally? Where were you? Come on, where were you, damn it? When was that movie going to come out? When was that Rugrats movie coming out? Okay, so we're delaying it. Alright, great. I can't even pull it back up now. That's just wonderful. You've got to be kidding me. Seriously? It's not even letting me pull it back up. Alright, it's fine. We'll just do it this way then. But anyway, I think that was coming out in November. I know it was coming out in November of 2020. But when? Let's see here. November of 2020. And we're looking at... Okay, here we go. November 13th! Huh! So Paramount's new movie, Clifford the Big Red Dog, is supposed to be coming out November 13th of 2020. And the Rugrats movie was originally going to be coming out November 13th of 2020. I thought I smelled a rat somewhere. Oh, it could just be me, too. But either way, no wonder they moved it. Of course, because Clifford the Big Red Dog is going to be getting its premiere. Look, I have no issue with preschool stuff getting rebooted, because like I said, it's designed for a newer generation, which honestly would make sense. You're going to have to change something up for the younger demographic that it's airing for, especially preschoolers and elementary school kids. The reason why is because they're not going to know what the original is, so you have a fresh start on it. But as far as this, did we need a movie? Just make the fucking series again. How many times did you reboot freaking Dr. Seuss crap? Happily, we can't get any more live-action things from that. Thank you so much to the widow of Dr. Seuss for putting a kibosh in the end on that. Whew! You deserve a Pulitzer for that. So, okay, so we're getting a Clifford the Big Red Dog movie. Great! That's nice. Oh, and there's also going to be a reboot of the animated series as well, with a tentative premiere date of sometime this fall. Oh, wonderful. Okay, sure. Why not? So, we're getting a Clifford movie. We're getting a Clifford series. And all of this culminating because of the Rugrats. Getting bumped ahead because they're both the movies are being made by Paramount. So one has to get bumped so it's not competing with the other one. anyway, that wraps up the premiere episode of Reboots, Remakes, and Retcons. I'd like to thank you all for joining me on this wonderful slush through the crap that we have had to go through together. What's it been? 37 minutes. Wow! Over almost 38 minutes. Wow! This has been a massive walk through the slush-filled valley of crap. God, I really did not enjoy it, but it's been fun anyway. I'm Andrew Rhodes, and I'd like to thank you all for joining me in this episode of Reboots, Remakes, and Retcons. And let's just hope all together now that the reboots stop, because we don't want them anymore. Until next time, I'm Andrew. Thank you all for tuning in, and bye-bye now.